Oh, I don't know. The thing is that group allowed us all to be free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that the point I was making is, when you are in the middle of improvising and everyone hits a thing and suddenly it all binds. It's like stuff circling and like satellites that come into focus. When we played with the Bagels, there was it had that sense of focus just like that from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something that we had to go and find. It seemed like it was just there. It was like instant focus, like some kind of great magical musical ready meal,
But there's also something beautiful about bands that stay together for a long time, and obviously they'll go through, fallings out and difficult times, but they mature and they get this sort of weight of history behind them. And then you guys presumably haven't been playing that much for the last 7 months.
No, not at all. I mean, we came down here. The band came down to Moneyhive, where me and Pete are staying. And
Where's that?
In Moneyhive, it's down in Dumfries and Galloway.
Right.
Great little valley. It's a place where three valleys converge into this kind of bed of Moneyhive. And I'm staying in a cottage up the hill, and there's a barn outside. And it's a bit of a dirty, funky barn, So the Bagels came down for a day, and Mark came down to do sound because Dave wasn't around, and Sandy Butler came down and videoed it, and we worked like a 12-hour day. We recorded like huge amounts of numbers through there in the barn, and we've just released that online. We've released some of it online anyway because we were supposed to go to Australia this year. It was a massive year for us actually, because our problem, if we have a problem in Scotland, is, if that's not too heavy a word, but is one of identity. Frustratingly for me, I think it's the theme that's I always kind of get involved in my life, is this thing. It's like you were talking about it earlier on, identity of musicianship, what kind of musician. The Bagels doesn't really fit into a country that has an incredibly defined sense of itself in terms of how it expresses itself musically. It has its own traditional form, which happens to be a traditional form which is famous throughout the world. It's not a curiosity in other people's eyes. It's a familiarity. And we're a group that is made up of lots of different people playing music from different places other than Scotland, in a kind of a way. But although we're actually here, how it affects us. But it means that we've never been able to.
Are you basically saying in a roundabout way that you're not Scottish?
It might come as a shock to some listeners, yeah.
Because I think maybe I should say I'm also. This could be a bit of a shock to some of the people listening, but I'm also not Scottish.
Yeah, I know. But
my wife doesn't know, so don't.
Yeah, I won't. Well, hopefully she won't watch this when it goes out. Distract her. All right.
She never watches it. Well, she'll watch the bit earlier when she's in it, but then she'll fast forward it. So this bit will be like.
So
I'm pretty safe.
Yeah.
If I want to say something that she's not going to listen to, I'll say it on this interview.
You can say it now.
Yeah, this is the safest time to say it.
Are there other things that you need to talk about just now?
Well, I'm coming out as an Englishman, as basically fundamentally English.
All right. Well, we can both do that. I mean, the difference, I suppose I'm a Geordie, which means, again, that's a confusing identity. I mean, because you're kind of close enough to Scottish to kind of almost be adopted as Scottish, and you're far enough away from England to kind of not really want to be any part of it, It's really confusing. But the Bagels has that thing where we don't really fit. We don't fit in as well here.
But that's what's great about it, though.
Of course, yeah, but it means that we're not as busy as we'd like to be. So,
Yeah, well,
we were about to go to Australia. It was like we were going to just get to a different part of the world where we could just, be ourselves. And of course, that all got cancelled, But, I mean, to go back...
You're coming to Pathhead.
I know, yeah, that's going to be brilliant.
And we're really excited about looking forward to and meeting that young Brazilian.
He's lovely, man. Yeah.
How old is he? He's 18, 19?
Yeah, Marion. Yeah. Marion, he's lovely, Marion. Yeah.
But listen, it's really lovely to see your face and to chat, and we could just go. I mean, The last time we had a really long chat was in my hot tub.
That's
and
true.
We chatted for like about 3 hours, but we can't do that just now because we've got to fit this into the interval of the gig. And I just want to ask you, what do you think of the first set we just heard?
And from Paul?
No, it's Tom Gibbs today on piano.
Oh, I haven't watched that.
It's just happened.
Oh, it's just happened now. Oh, that's what you mean. It's good. All right, start again. Do that again.
This is the 14th interview, and only one other person has failed to get the, and that was Paul Towndrow. He's going, what? I haven't seen it. I mean, what? How could I comment on it? I haven't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Everybody else has just gone, oh yeah, no, it was really great. It was really great.
Well, perhaps they weren't being scrupulously honest like me and Paul.
No,
but you know,
this is PR.
All right, we'll do it again. We'll start again, and I'll keep a straight face and I'll answer it as if we haven't gone through.
So, what did you think of the first set of the Tom Gigs? So, what do you think of the first set of Tom Gibbs?
Oh, it's fantastic.
What was your favourite bit?
The very beginning. I just thought it like really hit it off straight away. I was really chuffed.
Brilliant.
I've been watching the Playtime gigs actually. It's been really great to watch, and really, it's fantastic for me to, you know, as you get older, so many things change, but also you find that things change without you realizing them. You realize that you're just a little bit more different every day until eventually that difference becomes something which is clear, and then you've kind of done it. My granddad
something starts to leak.
Yeah, something. Well, as you get older, lots of things start to leak. My granddad used to always say to me, "You've got to be really careful, young Gregory." He said there reaches a point when, if you live long enough, like you finally grow into the person you are, right? So you got to make sure when that happens that you're the right kind of person, because there's no change after that point, you know. And I kind of feel myself, but I'm listening to loads of different kind of things now. I'm listening to music for different reasons, and I'm letting go of all kinds of kind of certainties, things that I felt were certainties. I interpret them as truths, and actually I've been trying to get rid of them for a long time, and they gradually just, in this pandemic, a lot of them have just evaporated in a strange kind of way. I'm just enjoying stuff as it comes at me. I'm not judging it. It's just there. It's kind of nice, actually.
Brilliant.
So I'm listening to loads of stuff, and I've watched the Playtime gigs. I've loved the sound great as well. I mean, the sound quality. It's like it's a proper thing, you know.
Well, Matt Elliott is amazing because he does the sound and the visuals all at the same time.
It's beautiful. It's lovely. It's great to see you. I love watching you from the side.
Oh Jesus!
Well, because you get the whole. You always see a drummer
bulk
front on, which is like. But when you see it from the side, you get the whole body in there.
Yeah, that's the problem. I had a series of lessons from Joe Morello in the States. I kind of got a grant to go over to America to study with. When I was about 23, 24, and before I went, somebody was over from the States and said, "Oh, I heard he was drinking a lot, and you know he was kind of shot." And I was already all booked by that point, and I was thinking, well, no, I should be fine. And then he taught above this drum shop in Orange, New Jersey, which is pretty much exactly where The Sopranos was filmed. And I got there at 5 o'clock, and the guy from the 4 o'clock lesson was sitting there waiting for him. And you just sat in the drum shop and waited for him, and then we both waited for another half an hour. So by this time it was like 5:30, and then he walks in with Danny Gottlieb, Pat Metheny's drummer, and he's like, hi, is Tom here from Scotland? Tom, are you here? Because obviously he's blind. Mm-hmm. And I was, yeah, I'm here, Joe. Yeah, I said, okay, great. Harry, are you here? And the other, yeah, Joe, I'm here. Great. Let's just go and get a quick drink because I'm thirsty. So then Daddy Gottlieb fucks off, and then Joe Morello takes us down the street to this bar. He obviously knew the way. And we sit in the bar and have a couple of beers and telling stories and shit like that, and then we head back to the drum shop. By this time it's about past 6 o'clock, 6:30, something like that. He gives Harry, we go up the stairs and there's a sort of practice room with just one practice pad in it on a stand. There's no drums, nothing. I sit outside. He gives Harry a lesson for an hour. So it's now like 7:30 or something like that. I come in and he goes, okay, play me something. So I start playing on this practice pad. And I don't know if you understand what a practice pad. I know you could probably imagine what a practice pad is. Being a professor.
I know what they are. Yes.
But playing on a practice pad in front of Joe Morello would be like, I guess, for a guitarist, sort of trying to show what you can do on a piece of string because you haven't got your normal guitar. Or so, I know, it's not.
Or playing air guitar.
Right. I want you to audition for me, but just on air guitar.
Yeah.
So I start playing on this unfamiliar practice pad, and after about a minute, he goes, "Yeah, I can help you, but it's getting kind of late for a lesson. Can you come back on Saturday?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." Having been there for like nearly 3 hours at this point.
Yeah.
And it was like a 45-minute bus journey to get there. So I said, yeah, okay. And then went home and had a couple of days of turmoil thinking, this is a total fucking cock up, Yeah. And then I went back on 2 years later and it was wonderful. He was amazing. And I had about 5 lessons and...
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's part of the lesson, learning a bit of patience.
Well, that's the thing is that, I once got told by this guy Clifford Jarvis, who was a Afro-American drummer that ended up in London, and he's teaching in London. He played with Coltrane and Sun Ra and various people. He was a wonderful drummer. He had a lot of addiction problems, and
diction problems. What?
He had addiction problems. And he said to me during
it was
the lesson,
all vowels,
which was just before I went to study with Joe Morello. I went for a lesson with him, and he said, "Your technique is terrible. If you were going to do anything in music, you'd have done it by now."
I couldn't agree more, Tom.
And the thing is that what was incredible about him doing that, he was incredibly rude and aggressive and kind of humiliated me, was that it was exactly what I needed. I was a bit cocky, hadn't really done the work, and needed to be my sense of where I was as a musician needed to be reset based on my technical frailties. And I had done quite a lot of things by that point,
Yeah.
But my technique was really shit. And he died a few years later. What I never had a chance to find out is, does he say that to everybody, but in like 1 or 2 out of 100 cases it's the perfect thing to say, or did he say it to me because he's an incredible educator and just said, this guy needs this, and I'm the loveliest guy in the world, but I'm going to pretend to be an asshole.
Yeah.
See?
So this is the interval of the other gig or our gig?
No, it's the interval of the gig the week before, so that people watch it and then come and watch your gig.
Right, so somebody's tuned in to hear Sophie and Tom play a beautiful set, then there's an interval, and in that interval they're supposed to listen to me, like, talking a load of rubbish.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing this for quite a long time.
And that works, so...
Well...
Fascinating.
I don't know if you've come across the concept of promotion.
I've heard of it.
Hopefully people will go, ooh, this Paul Towndrow, he's got lovely hair. Ooh, he's very articulate and interesting. Oh, I wonder what his saxophone playing's like. And then I could put a little link up of some music they can go and listen to online. Then they go and listen to that. If you let me know what it is, and then they go, oh, I'd love to come and see that next week, and then everyone starts, anticipating your gig. See, that's the. And then the other thing is, if we don't do anything in the interval, people flip over and they get distracted and they go and watch, MasterChef or whatever it is and then they don't come back, so we lose the audience. But since we started doing the interviews, people tend to stick around.
They're sticking around, so that will kind of be the measure of the success of this interview. Will be you'll be able to see if people are
leave in their droves, then it will be because you're shit.
Right? And do I then automatically lose the gig as a result of my? No, I'm still good.
Gigs unless you got involved in some kind of horrendous scandal between now and next week, that we'd have to chop you. I can't imagine what that would be, but
it's possible. I think one thing that might happen between now and next week is I might get a haircut. I noticed that you had a chat with Phil O'Malley actually.
Yes.
Unfortunately, his scissors and my head have not combined, but hopefully soon.
Well, you should come through and get that done on the way to the gig.
I was thinking about it, or maybe even during the gig, just to minimise. We'll just minimise exposure to coronavirus by having it all happen at one time.
If you sit in front of the drums, I could use sort of machete drumsticks and.
Do you have machete drumsticks?
No, but I could make some.
And will you be wearing a face mask?
No, but I'll just cut your hair.
So you're going to use machetes to cut my hair without a face mask? That's dangerous.
A COVID face mask.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think that's the least of your worries.